we go through and rank things because we like to rank things on this show. It's what we call the pecking order. And today's pecking order, Vikings themed, which we will get into, is presented by our friends at Spiral Light Candles. If you guys are bad at gift ideas like I am, Judd, Spiral Light Candles might be a great thing for you to put in your back pocket.
That's exactly right. And if you go to spirallightcandles.com right now, you are going to find Judd's Purple Positivity Candle. And right now you're saying, Judd's Purple Positivity. Judd's not positive. But if you heard Purple Daily today, you heard me singing the praises of a bunch of players and ability that the Vikings have for this year. And as a tie-in, when you are watching games, you know what? You're intense, right? You're intense. You're pacing. You're up and down. Spiral Light Candles and Judd's Purple Positivity Candle in particular will calm you down. They will help you take a deep breath as you smell the fantastic scent, as you basically make yourself into one with the game, because now you're calm. Now you're channeling things. It's fantastic. So again, check it out. Spiral Light has an array of great candles. Visit spirallightcandles.com, spirallightcandles.com, but make sure as football season approaches, you make the Purple Positivity Candle part of your household. It's a great gift as well.
It's a first string candle, which means it's not going to fit into the pecking order today. Judd has put together a list of third string Vikings quarterbacks that the public and fans either wanted to be elevated or that we remember because they are memorable. So yes. I love this. We're digging in the bag of obscure third-string Vikings quarterbacks, baby.
Yes. I came up with 6. Most of them, all but one, I think, since 2000, because it feels like this has become more of a thing, especially for like third-string guys, so real slappies. This list is open for interpretation, so like you might have more. I sent this to Chip Scoggins, and I said, am I missing any names here? And he said, not that I can think of. But again, it's entirely possible. So this is not a definitive list. This is my personal list. Okay. So feel free to add on. All right. I'm going to start at the bottom. There's 6. I'm going to work my way up to the champion of the slappy third-string Viking quarterback that we all thought had to be given some type of chance. At number 6. This is as much because of the name as the player himself, okay? Taken by the Vikings, 2008 out of USC, JDB, John David Booty.
Right. Yes.
JDB.
What round was he again? 5th round?
I think he was, yes. In fact, I think he was so if I'm not mistaken, this was one of the first trades in years that year made between the Vikings and Packers. They exchanged draft picks. And I want to say, if I'm correct here, the Vikings took JDB with the Packer pick, and the Packers might have taken Flynn with the Vikings pick. I think they both took quarterbacks. But I don't recall a hue and cry for JDB to play, but people loved his name. Oh, yeah. And he played at a big school. And I had forgotten this. He was the player who had to surrender the number 4 to Brett Favre in 2009 because he had the number 4 jersey. And I bet he got nothing for that, but JDB is number 6.
I love John David Booty. See? I thought he was convinced. I was convinced. Pre-Brett Favre speculation, I thought JDB, we got USC's quarterback. This is going to be awesome. In terms of my Mount Rushmore of obscure athlete loves, at least locally in this town, I think JDB might be my George Washington, dude. I love John
That's
John
so
David
random,
Booty.
dude.
It
is.
Why?
He was
like of all this
because the Vikings couldn't find a quarterback. He was at USC. He won the Rose Bowl. Like I would, like
young.
We got John. Yeah, I was young and stupid. I'm still older and stupid.
Yeah,
but yeah, I thought it was, and Judd was right. Green Bay sent their 137th pick. Their 5th round pick, 7th round pick to Green Bay for the 4th round pick, 137. So it was a trade with the Packers to get JDB.
He had to have gotten something for that number 4 jersey, right? A watch, a gift card, Trader Joe's, like something.
Here's my question.
Pair of Wranglers.
Here's my question.
Hot.
Did Brett Favre even know that someone else had 4?
No, I'm sure the Vikings probably got out in front of this, right?
Yes.
before as Favre was in the SUV being followed by the 5
what I'm
Eyewitness
saying.
News chopper, right? There's someone that worked on the inside is like, JDB, dude, we got about 30 minutes till Favre
equipment guy
gets
just
here.
went and took it.
We need that jersey. Yeah.
The equipment guy just
Bro.
went and took it out of his locker and is like, "You're now number 12 or something like that."
According to his Wikipedia page, too, he also, a week before the draft, stated on national TV that he hoped to be selected by the Minnesota Vikings. JDB did.
I read
Called
that
a
yesterday.
shot, dude.
I have no recollection of that.
He called his shot.
Yes,
Amazing.
and he was taken in 2008, stuck around for that year, and then was on the practice squad in 2009 and was released from there. And I don't know if he's surfaced again or not, but long live the memory of Declan's favorite guy, John David Booty.
JDB.
What a great name. All right, number 5 on my list. This man is still playing professional football, although not in the National Football League. He has 3 names, and now we're going to get to guys that I remember people saying, you got to give this guy a chance. McLeod Bethel-Thompson.
Yes.
Tearing it up still.
Signed in January of 2012. I forgot this part. Beat out Sage for the 3rd string job that year, but was released to make room for Josh Freeman before he started against the Giants. Returned briefly in 2014 for a practice squad stint. But the great McLeod Bethel-Thompson fact is he was the guy who was removed from the roster to create room for the man that would sling footballs all over Giant Stadium on a Monday night.
I love that we are through 2 names here, and we're through 2 quarterbacks, but we have 6 total names involved in the 2. Right? John David Booty, McLeod Bethel-Thompson.
Yeah, you're right. You're exactly right.
Max efficiency for sure. Yes.
All right.
That's all I have on McLeod Bethel-Thompson.
I just remember because he had a huge arm. Like, fans were like, you got to play him. Like, that arm's unbelievable.
Josh Freeman had a huge arm,
Yeah,
too.
so did he.
Yeah, and the football was sailing all over Giant Stadium that night. All right, number 4 on my list is a guy who was starting in the National Football League as recently as last year. I don't know where he is now, possibly still with the Commanders. Taylor Heinicke.
Oh,
nice.
dude.
Yeah.
I think he is still. Pretty sure he's still with the Commanders.
Yeah, I forget where
Okay.
he is. Falcons, maybe?
I was going to say, I have no idea. I think he was about to retire a couple years ago, and then the Commanders called him and are like, hey, we got a job here. And he's like, oh, and was starting, it felt like fairly shortly thereafter that. Signed as an undrafted free agent in 2015 from Old Dominion. He was behind Teddy and Sean Hill his rookie year, but you talk about an opportunity missed. This is where the Heinicke meets the road.
Oh my God.
He had the chance and put the pieces of the puzzle together here. He had the chance to win the backup job over Sean Hill in 2016, and the team liked him. But if you recall, in Mankato, he started training camp on the non-football injury list, the NFI, because under mysterious circumstances, he and his friend had gone to a movie and had forgotten their keys, and he tried to use his foot to kick out a window and severed, I don't know, something in his leg. This is 2016. So this is the year where, unfortunately, Teddy's leg in a training camp practice at Winter Park basically implodes or explodes. And if Heinicke hadn't tried to do something, I'm still not convinced that we actually have the real story. But if Heinicke hadn't got hurt, do you trade for Bradford?
Yes, he
Does
would have
Heinicke start?
Heinicke wouldn't have started. He would have been the backup, right? Who was the backup behind Bradford that year? Because Case
Hill.
Keenum didn't come around. So Sean
Hill. But Sean Hill literally just couldn't play. Like,
yeah.
he could
So they would have traded for Bradford, but Heinicke would have been a very solid number 2 quarterback. And maybe I think the real question is, because then he went on, they kind of severed ties with Heinicke. See what I did there?
I did, yeah.
Then he went to
severed ties with his
Houston.
leg.
He went to Houston in 2017. So what would have happened in 2017? Bradford probably still starts the season as he did as the starting quarterback.
Yep.
But maybe they don't sign Case Keenum because they feel good about Taylor Heinicke as their backup, and we never get the 2017 Case Keenum Magic Carpet ride. Or do we get a Taylor Heinicke Magic Carpet ride in 2017?
Well, that's a question. I will say this. I've covered the Vikings consistently since 2005. The Heinicke injury information and explanation is, I think, atop my list of things I still think we don't know what happened.
Secrets. Yeah.
Do you really think he tried to kick in? Like, I guess totally
Yes.
drunk he might have.
Yes.
But it feels like but at least if they had said the dummy was drunk, they're like, oh, just try to kick it in.
Judd, actually, can you make note for next week here or a
know
future
more.
week? I need you to make a note here. You've just stumbled on a great pecking order. Vikings mysteries that we need to get to the bottom of. What happened between Norv Turner and Mike Zimmer? What happened to Taylor Heinicke's leg? All right, there's probably 10 more we could think of. Vikings mysteries that we need. Vikings unsolved mysteries is what we can call it.
Solve mysteries. The ID channel. All right, so Taylor Heinicke is number 4. My top 3 now. Number 3. The man who being claimed by the Chiefs made Brad Childress a very angry man.
Yes.
Tyler Thigpen.
Oh,
Tyler was drafted by the Vikings in the 7th round in 2007. The team liked him a lot, but logically tried to sneak him through to the practice squad. But he was claimed by the Chiefs after completing 3 of 6 passes for 29 yards and gaining 18 yards on 2 scrambles in a preseason game at the Dome against the Rams. More importantly, Childress said he thought it was what the Chiefs saw from Thigpen in the joint practice that they held at that time, because the Chiefs were training in River Falls, Wisconsin, and the Vikings were in Mankato. And I believe that was the last time for a long time that the Vikings held joint practices. Tyler Thigpen, I think that there's a fighting chance the Vikings were more upset by him being claimed than the fan base, but that still qualifies.
Let me tell you a little Tyler Thigpen story too, because another obscure quarterback. Nice. I had a fantasy football bye week from hell in 2008. I had my starting quarterback went out week 1. I think it was Carson Palmer. I was starting a different quarterback every week because I couldn't find one. And I looked this up. In week 9 of 2008, I was forced to start Tyler Thigpen from the Kansas City Chiefs. And the dude balled out for 3 touchdowns, 266 yards, and I won a fantasy football matchup starting Tyler Thigpen. And for whatever reason, just like JDB,
dude.
I have an obscure obsession with the guy.
And he got signed by the Buffalo Bills eventually, I think, to be their starter at one point, if I'm not mistaken.
He
got
did.
signed
Well,
by Buffalo,
kind of.
And the Vikings at that time tried to reacquire him.
So here's the funny thing about Thigpen. So that 2008 season that Declan's referring to, he came in. I can't remember what happened there. Kansas City must have had a starter go down with an injury or something. That was before they acquired Matt Castle, because he started for the Patriots in 08. So I don't know what was going on with the Chiefs in 08. But Thigpen went 1-10 over 11 starts. He played in 14 games, 11 starts. He was 1-10. I think the game you're referring to was the game that he won in 2008. And then from that point forward, and he was he 55% completion, so not very good. 18 touchdowns, 12 interceptions. The league saw enough, and he was only 24. 1 start the rest of his career. The league saw enough of Tyler Thigpen in 2008.
Vikings had high hopes, man. That's all I remember, okay?
Yep. Amazing. All right, number 2?
Number 2 on the list of gone but not forgotten, basically third-string quarterbacks who never really had a chance to play, but somebody was upset that they didn't get their opportunity in purple. Number 2 on the list actually goes back to the only guy on this list from the 90s, which is 7th-round pick 93, Heisman Trophy winner from Miami, Gino Torretta. Gino Torretta, so this is so long ago that I tried to find the box score for this game, and you can't find it. But he came into a game that the Vikings lost, and I think rallied pretty hard in the preseason at Kansas City. They lost 27-20. Torretta, though, led the comeback. And I want to say this is 2 years into the launch of K-Fan. And this might have been the first time that we actually had a hot take talk radio sports. You gotta give Gino Torretta a chance. Gino played great. He deserves a chance. You gotta give him a chance. It's they're not going to. But anyway, this sort of launched, I felt like, the modern day, not second, not backup QB love, third QB love of you've got this guy looks like he's the real guy. I mean, he's the Heisman Trophy winner. He did not get into a regular season game during his time with the Vikings and was with the Detroit Lions by 94. But Gino Torretta is too, just based on the fact that he sort of launched this guy's got no chance to play, but somebody wants him to.
I love that name. It feels like a football name from maybe a generation before he came in the league, like the 1950s or 60s, where you talk about Gino Torretta comes walking out on the field for the Penn State Nittany Lions.
And he looks like a Gino, too. He sort of looked like a Gino.
Jet black hair, slicked back, plate of pasta in front of him at all times.
Mm-hmm.
And I think number one becomes pretty obvious then.
Yeah.
I would be shocked if it's not who I'm thinking of.
Yes. Number one is still around in the National Football League. In fact, he played in if I'm not mistaken, and pretty well statistically, in the USFL this spring. But he's now at Jacksonville Jaguar with no opportunity to play, of course. Listed technically as a Viking from 2017 when he was claimed, I think he was claimed off waivers from Denver through 2019. Kyle Sloter. And you know what? I even went and crunched his preseason stats. I went and looked at all his Viking box scores and put them together to see really who was one of the great preseason quarterbacks in Vikings history. The king of the exhibition. Kyle Sloter, in 4 preseason games as a Viking, so he was claimed from the Broncos after the preseason in 17. So he played in 2 preseasons, 2018 and 19, with the Vikings. Completed 80 of 108 passes for 809 yards, and wait for it, 8 touchdowns with 1 pick. If the Vikings had a Ring of Honor for preseason excellence, Audie Cole definitely goes in.
Well, it's called Mr. Mankato,
yeah,
actually.
No, but I'm just talking about preseason games, just the preseason games. But anyway, yes, Kyle Sloter is number one. He is, and I don't recall a quarterback who had no chance to play who caused more acrimony, like violent arguments, like down and dirty, you're wrong, no, you're wrong. I mean,
agree.
It was Cousins-esque. It was very weird.
It was.
Like, at least with Kirk, it's frustrating at times, but it makes sense. Like, I get it. He's a starter.
Friendships were severed, man. Friendships were severed. Family gatherings were canceled because of Kyle Sloter.
Relationships with media companies and people were severed. It was unbelievable. It was back and forth. It was downright nasty because of a guy who was great only in games that did not count. Kyle Sloter, number one on my list.
Amazing. It's a great list, man. That is a great nostalgic list right there. I still stand for Tyler Thigpen. I can't believe no one else gave him a shot at age 25 going forward. I mean, the guy can't get five more starts to build off what he did in Kansas City.
I would love to know how many people started Tyler Thigpen in that Week 8 game in ESPN Fantasy Football Leagues. There had to be less than 10. It might even be smaller. But it got me a win, baby. It got me a win.
So great.
So
there it is. Judd's pecking order, Declan's fantasy peak moment of all time.
JDB, Declan. JDB.
And all of it presented in part by our friends at Federated Mutual Insurance Company. They've been around for over 100 years, helping business owners maximize their level of success through risk management tools and resources. You can find a full list of industries Federated protects at federatedinsurance.com to see if your business falls into their categories. And maybe you guys can partner up and they can help you get to new heights. Federatedinsurance.com, where it's our business to protect yours. Write that down, predictions and an accountability session on both Mackey and Judd and Purple Daily tomorrow. See you guys.